Hello everyone. So in this session we are going to study about the menstrual cycle. So as you know, in the last session we talked about the formation of sperms and formation of eggs. So as in sense we studied about spermatogenesis and oogenesis, and this is the next concept, menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle takes place in female reproductive tract of primates. So this, the name itself is saying it is a cycle. We will start with the definition of the menstrual cycle first. So this is the cycle takes place in female reproductive tract of primates. Primates in sense, example, apes, monkeys and humans. So these are all known as the primates. So the cycle, how the cycle takes place in female reproductive tract. So we are in human reproduction. We talked about the spermatogenesis and oogenesis. The oogenesis, we'll talk with the oogenesis now. As I told you, at the puberty, one of the follicle comes out from the mass of the cell and it matures. How it mature? It mature, or the maturation of follicle is known as Graafian follicle, as we studied in the last sessions. So the Graafian follicle, when the oocyte is at the secondary level, the Graafian follicle, it will releases that secondary oocyte into the fallopian tube. So the processes, all those processes in total we can call it as the menstrual cycle. Okay, so it takes place at regular intervals. Regular intervals means every 28 days. I'm telling you, every 28 days means in 1 month 30 days will be there, or we can call it as every 28 days the cycle keep on moving. Okay, so how the cycle keeps on moving in every 28 days, what are the phases are present in that cycle, so that is important to understand. If you understand about the phases of this menstrual cycle, you will come to know what I am going to describe you, what I am describing you. So the menstrual cycle, as you know, the definition of that is, it is a cycle takes place in the female reproductive tract of primates, not in all organisms, only in primates, and it takes place, or it occurs at every 28 days, at the interval of 28 days. If in 128 days, like if we are having 28 days, that period, if we calculate that period or that days, first phase takes place in few days, next phase takes place in the middle of that 28 days, and then next phase, like this. Complete menstrual cycle takes place in this 28 days. And then the first menstrual cycle, it starts or it begins at the puberty of female, when she is at the age of 12th to 15th, we can call it as. It is not compulsory, the female should have to release the eggs at the age of 12th, it is not like that. In the age of 12th to 15th, the puberty begins. And next, for this menstrual cycle, it need hormones. What are those hormones? Those hormones are known as gonadotropins. the gonadotropin secreted or it releases from the anterior part of the pituitary gland. That pituitary gland stimulated by hypothalamus. The hypothalamus first, what actually it is doing, the hypothalamus first it secretes the gonadotropic releasing hormone. When this hormone secreted from the gonadotropic hypothalamus, those hormones stimulates the anterior part of the pituitary gland, and then that pituitary gland releases two more hormones known as gonadotropins, that is LH and FSH. This LH, what it will do, it helps in the it induces the formation of follicles. The FSH first, this one, the follicle stimulating hormone, it will induce the formation of follicles. Okay, and then next the LH, it starts or it induces the ovulation. So what is ovulation? Ovulation is nothing but releasing of what? Secondary oocyte or ovum from the Graafian follicle or from the ovaries to fallopian tube. Okay, Graafian follicle, it will be in the ovary, so either this or that, you can call it as Graafian follicle or ovary. So with this we will start with the phases now. The first phase of a menstrual cycle is, okay, let me tell you. So at the first phase, okay, in the phases itself I will tell you about that. So there are 4 phases. The first one is menstrual phase. The second one is pre-ovulatory phase. Third one is ovulatory phase, and the fourth one is, third one is ovulatory, fourth one is post ovulatory phase. This pre-ovulatory phase and post ovulatory phase, you can also call these phases as pre-secretory phase, and this can be secretory phase, or this will be as luteal phase, or it can also call it as follicular phase. So these are all the other names of the phases. So with this we'll we'll start by describing each and every phases. So the first phase is menstrual phase. The menstrual phase, it remains, so if out of 28 days we have to calculate all these phases. Alright, so the menstrual phase, it lasts from first day of menstrual cycle to 5th day of menstrual cycle. It means the menstrual phase is nothing but the releasing of blood, cellular debris and mucus from the vagina. So the blood and cellular debris, mucus, it will be in the uterus. From the uterus through the vagina, it will come out from the body. Okay, so that content, what the shedding of the blood serum or all those, that period is known as, that time is known as menstrual phase. It will last till 5 days. Okay, from first day of menstrual cycle to 5th day of menstrual cycle, that phase is known as menstrual phase. Okay, so the next is, so what actually we'll talk about that in these phases. Why the blood and why the cellular debris and why the mucus releases from the body, I'll tell you. The second is pre-ovulatory phase or follicular phase. I'll draw one graph here or one diagram here to describe about the days of menstrual cycle. So, I am going to write the days on this line. Consider this line indicates the days starting from first day till 28th day. So, if we take this as a first day, the menstrual phase will remain for 5 days as I told you. So, this is the menstrual day. So, we can mention here that as menstrual phase. Okay. And then next is, after that, only for your reference I am drawing this line here, otherwise it is not necessary at all. And the next phase is pre-ovulatory phase. Right from the, so this is the 1 to 5 days, right from the 6th to 13th day, these days are known as pre-ovulatory phase days. What will happen in the days? In this phase, the follicles will form, it will start developing. The follicles will be in the, so this is the ovary, and from the mass of the cell, one follicle will come out, and then it will increases its size. Increases its size means it is developing, you can call it as. So this follicle is surrounded by granulosa cells, and then when it matures, how it looks? It looks like a complete follicle, you can call it as. It looks like a graphian, or it become, when the primary follicle matures, that structure, complete mature structure is known as graphian follicle. So what we studied here, what we are looking at this phase. So this is the pre-ovulatory phase or follicular phase, where the follicle is it will develop. Okay, so that phase is known as a follicular phase. How many days it takes? Right from the 6th day of menstrual cycle to 13th day it will be. In these days, the follicle matures. Inside the follicle, what will be there? Inside the follicle, oocyte, primary oocyte, and then secondary oocyte will be there. And then after that, at the 14th day, after developing, after having this graphian follicle, it won't keep that in secondary oocyte inside this. It will releases. When it releases, it has to releases the secondary oocyte. How come it know? So the secondary oocyte is mature enough to release inside the graphian follicle. There is the answer. So the answer is the LH. It will go to the peak. It means normally when the female, when she reaches to the puberty, the LH and FSH, it start secreting. The FSH, this is the hormone which helps to develop the follicles inside the ovary. And then LH, what it will do? This LH, luteinizing hormone, it helps in the ovulation. How? At the time at the 14th day, the LH suddenly it will start producing more quantity, like number of luteinizing hormones. When in the female body, that hormone reaches to the peak. At that time, ovulation occurs. Ovulation means inside the body, so inside the ovary, the secondary oocyte will be there. No, that oocyte, secondary oocyte, come out from the ovary and it will move or enter inside the fallopian tube. So that is known as ovulation or ovulatory phase. So the ovulatory phase, we talked about the days here. The menstrual phase, it will last to 5 days. The pre-ovulatory phase, the number of days it will be, takes number of days for the preparation. And ovulatory, what about ovulatory phase? How long it will remain? It means the egg, what it is releasing from the ovary, how long it will remain in the primary follicle, fallopian tube. For that I will tell you in the fertilization concept. Just keep this in mind. How many days, the viability of egg, you have to keep that in mind, so that you will come to know about the fertilization. So after the ovulation, the post-ovulatory phase. The post-ovulatory phase is nothing but, or also known as secretory phase. Absence of fertilization. If the sperms do not enter inside the female reproductive tract, in that time this secondary oocyte, it will come to the uterus. In this time, so let me write the, this is the ovulatory phase, that is the 14th day, and from the 15th day to 28th day. So in these days, these days are known as post-ovulatory phase or secretory phase. We can also call this phase as secretory phase. In the post-ovulatory phase, the ovule, what is this? Not ovule, sorry. So the secondary oocyte comes to the uterus. In the uterus, let me draw that so that you will come to know. Here we are having 3 layers in the uterus. What are those? So consider this as a uterus, and it is covered by 3 layers. Outer, so this is the fundic body, cervix. Outer peri, and then middle meso, inner endometrium. It is highly vascularized. Perimetrium, outer perimetrium, middle mesometrium. I am talking about the layers of uterus. It is of 3 layers: outer perimetrium, middle meso, inner endometrium. So we are in post-ovulatory phase now. In this phase, the secondary oocyte, in the absence of fertilization, if the fertilization happens in the ovulation period, what will happen? That fertilized egg come to the uterus. Here the implantation takes place. So we'll talk about that in the implantation concept. In the absence of fertilization, we are talking about the menstrual cycle. So we have to describe both the cases. In the absence of fertilization, in the presence of fertilization, we have to study about those. So in the absence of fertilization, first let me describe you about that. The epithelium of the uterus, this uterus will be there, no? So this is the epithelium or this endometrium. It get thickened at the post-ovulatory phase. It get thickened and it become vascularized. It means the blood, cellular debris, mucus, everything, it get deposit on the epithelium. So that formation of the layer on the epithelium or deposition of blood or cellular debris on the epithelium of the uterus is known as post-ovulatory phase. So in this phase, it lasts to, it starts from the 15th day of menstrual cycle. Only in the absence of fertilization it will remain, or it completes till 28th day of menstrual cycle. So those layers, those debris, after 28th day, all those come out from the uterus through the vagina and it released out from the body. So that debris or that blood or that mucus is known, it is nothing but when it comes out from the body, that phase again it's restart the cycle. In the absence of fertilization, if the fertilization doesn't occur, what all the thickening present at this phase, what are the thickening deposited at this phase, it will again releases from the body. So that what is that? That phase is known as menstrual phase. So that menstrual phase, it will remain for 5 days, and then again pre-ovulatory phase, again ovulation. What will happen if the egg get fertilized with the sperm? That fusion or that syngamy or that fertilization, after the fertilization, and also we didn't talk about the leftover Graafian follicle here. So listen to me, I am describing you about the fertilization. If the fertilization occurs in the female reproductive tract, will the epithelium of the uterus get deposited by blood or cellular debris or mucus? Yes, it is, but exceptions are there. Let me describe you from this point. So this is the point where the ovulation is over now. So the secondary oocyte has entered inside the fallopian tube. What will happen to the Graafian follicle, the leftover Graafian follicle? This Graafian follicle, it will come down in the form of, or we can call it as corpus luteum. So this corpus luteum, what we are talking about? We are talking about the fertilization. This corpus luteum, it secretes the hormones known as progesterone, which helps or which enables the uterus. What it will do? Which enables the uterus wall. When it get thickened or when the debris, these debris get deposited on the uterus wall, this progesterone won't allow to move outside. This blood, it won't come out. In that time, that ovulation time or that what is that, menstrual cycle or that menstrual phase doesn't take place in the time of fertilization. So if a girl, if a female, if she missing the menstrual cycle or menstrual phase, it is a symbol of pregnancy. But some exceptions are there. Because of some poor health or some hormonal imbalance, for so many girls are there, so many women are there, they are facing some menstrual related problems. But if in a normal human body, normal female body, if she is missing the menstrual cycle, means she is pregnant, or the fertilization has begun in her reproductive tract, we can call it as. So all these phases, if it is occurring, if it is moving on inside the female reproductive tract, in sense she is, or we can call it as a normal reproductive phase. She is in normal, she is having a normal reproductive life, she is leading, we can say. So what will happen if the fertilization doesn't occur? The vascular epithelium, it get thickened by the because of what, some hormones. What will happen to the corpus luteum? This corpus luteum, it won't secrete the progesterone. Only in the case of when the fertilization doesn't occur, the Graafian follicle, this Graafian follicle, after releasing the secondary oocyte into the fallopian tube, this Graafian follicle is known as corpus luteum. It won't secrete the progesterone. So it will degenerate only in the case of missing the fertilization. Okay, so carpus luteum degenerate only in the absence of fertilization. Carpus luteum secretes the progesterone hormones to maintain or to balance the uterus wall in the presence of fertilization. Okay, so that's all about the what is this menstrual cycle. So this menstrual cycle, you have to understand about the 4 phases. In the absence of fertilization, in the presence of fertilization, what are the concepts going on in the female reproductive tract. After getting all these points, directly we will move on to the fertilization. How the fertilization happens in the female reproductive tract, that too at which part, we will see that. To understand that, we have to draw the diagram of female reproductive tract. So in which concept we are in now? We are in the concept of fertilization. Let me draw the female reproductive tract again to explain you about the fertilization. So what are these? These are the follicles. Primary follicle development stages of primary follicle. At the end, what we are having here? We are having a matured follicle known as Graafian follicle. So we are in a fertilization concept. The other half I am not going to draw because it will be as it is. It will remain as it is, same fallopian tube, same ovary. You can draw at one at that side. Okay, let me complete this tract so that you will come to know what actually it is. So this is the tract. Uterus, fallopian tube, ovary, and in the uterus, what is this? Endometrium, mesoperi. Okay. So what we are doing, what we are learning here now, we are learning about the fertilization. So the fertilization, it is nothing but fusion of male and female gametes. Though we are in human reproduction, we have to call those male gametes and female gametes as sperms and egg. So let me start with the female reproductive tract or female gametes first. The oocyte, the secondary oocyte sucked by this infundibulum, the fimbriae infundibulum, the open part of this fallopian tube is known as this infundibulum, funnel shaped structure. So the egg is, secondary oocyte is moving in this way. Okay, so the arrow mark is showing it is not having two secondary oocyte, only one oocyte we are talking about. The arrow mark suggests the way of transportation of secondary oocyte. Okay, so this ovum or secondary oocyte, if it is present at this region, let me label this part also. This is infundibulum, ampulla, and then that is isthmic. Infundibulum, ampulla, isthmic. So this is the isthmic part, isthmus. All right. when the secondary oocyte is present at this region at the 14th day of menstrual cycle. Meantime, if the sperm entered inside the female reproductive tract, how it enters? So that is because of insemination. The penis, when it releases the semen I am going to call that vesicle or that fluid is known as semen. The male releases 3 to 4 ml. In the last session, I guess I spoke about the semen. A man can release 3 to 50 ml of one, like that I told. No, just correct it. 3 to 4 ml of semen a man can release. In that semen, 300 to 400 millions of sperms will be present. Okay, so let me tell you one more interesting concept here. The sperms, it get activate when it enters inside the female reproductive tract. The content which is present in the uterus, those contents, those mucus, it let the sperm happens, or it will provide some energy, or when the sperm enter inside the uterus, it will become active. That is one concept. So that concept or that phenomena is known as capacitance. The process is known as capacitance. Okay, so we are in this concept now. What will happen if a man, if he is not releasing that much of sperms? If in if a male reproductive system, a man, if he is releasing below 20 million of sperms per ejaculation, he is considered as sterile. Okay, so that also you have to keep that in mind. With this, we'll move on to this concept, fertilization. So from where the sperms are coming? From the seminiferous tubule. The seminiferous tubule releasing the develops the sperms, and then those sperms carried by vas efferentia and then vas differentia, the seminal vesicle, and then prostate gland, and then bulbourethral gland. So the secretion of these 3 glands, and then sperm, a man, he is releasing semen. Okay, in the semen, how many sperms will be present? 300 to 400 millions of sperms will be present. Okay, so if that semen enter inside the female reproductive tract by means of insemination, or that process is known as coitus. Okay, so these sperms, it get active when it enter inside the female reproductive tract. So that process is known as capacitance. The sperm, it will move wherever it is, the place will be present, it will keep on going. So think the oocyte is at this junction. It means if the egg is at this region, ampullar region, meantime the sperms also entering inside the fallopian tube, then only fertilization achieves. Achievement of fertilization, the place of fertilization is ampullar isthmic junction. Only at this place the fertilization occurs. So because of this nature, every ejaculation or every coitus, it won't succeed with the fertilization. If sometime the sperms enter inside the fallopian tube, still the oocyte is present in the Graafian follicle, in that time fertilization do not occur. So this is the purely a chance factor. Only if the secondary oocyte is present at this junction, meantime the sperms also entering inside the fallopian tube, that time the fertilization achieves. So this is all about the fertilization. Okay, so what will happen next? When the egg receives the sperm, do the content, or let me draw here the secondary oocyte. On that day we studied the structure of that. What were the contents of that egg or the oocyte? It was having the ooplasm, egg nucleus, and then zona pellucida, and then corona, radiata, so these are all the egg is surrounded by the cells known as corona radiata. Corona radiata are the resultant cells of a granulosa cell. So the granulosa cells will be there inside the surrounded by the follicle inside the ovary. Those cells carried into the fallopian tube also. So those cells are known as corona radiata. Now the sperms, not only one sperm, number thousands of sperm get attached to the egg. Because the egg is only one in number of sperms get attached to this egg. Next, what will happen? Only one egg achieves, only one egg enters inside the egg. Okay, how? I'll draw the structure here. Let me complete the structure. So consider here, number of sperms are present. Only one sperm. One sperm means the sperm, it will, when it penetrates the layers of, what layers? Corona radiata, zona pellucida, and then if these layers, if the sperm penetrating and entering inside the egg, how it enters? Because it is surrounded by 2 to 3 layers. So at the tip of the sperm, what we studied, at the anterior part of the sperm, what it is having? It is having acrosome. That acrosome consists of the enzymes. Those enzymes are acrosome, hyaluronidase, so neuroaminidase. So these are the enzyme. It defeats, or what it will do? It serves the way, or it helps to penetrate the sperm, and then next it dissolves this layer. Those enzymes dissolve this layer, and here you can see one cone I have drawn here. So this is what is that? So this is because of the dissolving of when the layer it get dissolved, how it looks means it looks like a cone. So that cone is known as fertilization cone. Why the fertilization cone it has formed? So because the sperm, when it penetrates, when it defeats the layer of the egg, how it is defeating the layer? By secreting the enzymes. From where the enzymes is secreted from the sperm? At the acrosome, at the anterior part of the sperm, the enzymes will be present. Those enzymes dissolves the layer. When it dissolves those layer, the structure which forms in the egg, that structure will be cone shape. That cone shaped structure is known as fertilization cone. And next is the sperm, only the head part and middle part enter inside the ooplasm or inside the egg. The leftover tail region will be there. This tail will be shed off. It will be remain outside the egg. Only the head part and middle part of the same sperm enter inside the egg. And the next, what will happen? This egg, it receives the centrioles of the middle part. The sperm, what it is having, all the mitochondria, centrioles will be present, and then nucleus, everything will be present inside the sperm. The first thing what the female is doing, what the female egg is doing, what the egg nucleus is doing, it will receive the centrioles first. For what for? To complete its meiosis stages. It will complete its meiosis stages and it will become female pronucleus. And now this female pronucleus, it will fuse with the male pronucleus. So the male pronucleus will be, only one nucleus will be present. So that nucleus, by dissolving the nuclear membrane, it will fuse with the female nucleus. So what is that? Female pronucleus. So this is the male pronucleus after the achievement of fertilization. So these are the fusion of pronucleuses inside the egg. Okay, so let me tell you one more interesting concept here. When one sperm enter inside the egg, it forms a boundary so that other sperm do not enter inside the same fertilized egg. So that is also one nature of the sperm. First it dissolves the layer or membrane, only the middle portion and head region only enter inside the ovoplasm. When it enter inside this, it forms a boundary, and then the pronucleus and then female nucleus, they'll fuse with one another, and then it results in the formation of zygote having 2n number chromosome. 2n number means half of the set was having in the female egg nucleus and half was present in the male nucleus. When they both fuse with one another, results in the formation of diploid nucleus. The diploid nucleus, it will be 46XX or 46X5 in number. We have written here 46XX and 46X5. What for? Why this 46? 46 means what? Let me complete that also. The chromosomes are of two sets. 23 chromosomes are known as allosomes, and one pair of chromosomes are known as autosomes or sex chromosomes. Allosomes. Allosomes are body chromosomes, autosomes are sex chromosomes. 23 pair means 46, one pair means XX or 46XY. In a female body, 46 XX chromosomes will be present. In a male, 46 XY chromosomes are present. So the sex, the male and female, it is decided by the sperm, not the egg. If a sperm, it carries, let me draw that here. So this is the sperm carrying X type of chromosome. When it fuses with the egg, so remember, the females are homogametic. It doesn't possess two different kind of sex chromosome, only one type of chromosome it will be having, that is XX. And females are known as heterogametic because X and Y type of chromosomes are present inside the body. If a sperm, X type of sperm, enter inside the egg, the resultant cell will be, the resultant zygote will be 46XX. In future, we are going to call them as a female body. And if the sperm, if it is carrying Y type of chromosome, when it gets fuses with the egg, the zygote is known as XY. In future, that zygote becomes a male human body. So, the embryo, if a baby, if it is a female baby or if it is a male baby, that is purely based on the type of chromosome. If type of chromosome, when it fuses with the egg, it gives rise to resultant zygotes. Okay, so let me tell you, out of 300 to 400 millions of sperms, half of the sperms will be of X type, half of the sperms will be of Y type. So this concept, once they asked in the examination for 3 marks. Okay, concentrate on this also, don't neglect, don't leave any concept, learn it, and we'll see the next concept, that is implantation and embryonic development and parturition and then lactation in the next sessions. Thank you.